Hello everybody and welcome back to D7R TV. We hope you enjoyed the channel and the little journey with our Clio so far, but today we're going to tackle a job that I've been putting off. As you know, in the last few episodes, the wiring loom had been cut quite significantly and I didn't have the function of the key fob to lock the car, so it was all manually opening the doors, etc. with a key. But one thing I couldn't lock is the boot, and today we're going to tackle that problem. Wish us luck. Right, since the last episode you probably noticed a few changes. 1, we have a glove box. 2, we have a working stereo. And 3, we have door cards. It was a graft, but it needed to be done. We also don't have them poly windows in here anymore, and we have working glass windows in the car, driver and passenger side. So that was a biggie. But the main thing is, the aim of this episode is to show you what it'll take to wire up a boot solenoid using the Clio Loom, which entails changing from down here in the footwell all the way back to the fuel pump, the rear lights, all just to get the boot lock to work. What a pain in the arse that's going to be, but you're here and you're going to see how it goes together. Winning. I don't need to say more than that. This is more than just a little job. It's really, really fiddly, but it is the way to go. This is your whole rear end interior loom, and all that feeds through your boot, and that'll get your spoiler lights working, your rear heated glass to work, your rear wiper, motor loom, fuel pump loom, speakers for the rear. What else we got? A shit ton of stuff, and it all is one piece. You'd expect it to be like a little plug for your boot separately, but French engineering strikes again and we have to change everything. So this is the start and this is sort of your finish. Great stuff. I really enjoy this stuff. Where do we start, you may ask? Well, we start by taking the roof spoiler off. It's 6 T20 Torx. It's 2 one side, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the end. Then you've got a plug for your rear spoiler. You unplug that, then you pull the loom out. You're going to need one of these, and this is going to be feeding our loom through the boot orifices. There's like a recess here inside the boot, and there's one here for like your washer section. But main thing is, we're not bothered about doing the washer just yet, but the main thing is getting the loom all the way around to this point here, so when I press the key fob I lock the car. So here we go, let's get amongst it. This is our starting position. We need to feed this section through the actual car because we need that. Make sure you don't go straight through the boot because there's a grommet here which goes from the boot to the actual top of the car. This is for your heated screen. It's a little spade connector. Then you've got your loom for your rear brake light. So you need to start popping this through into the boot. And this is why you need the spoiler removed. There's a hole in the top of where your grommet goes. It's a fiddly one. But it pops through and you pull it until the rubber grommet, which is here. So feed that through the car as well and through the boot. Because that's your first port of call. This loom here is the other side for your heated screen, so that's got to go up as well. So feed that through your roof. Then this goes up into the boot as well, but we'll sort that out in a minute. Just feed this grommet up. You feed the one part of the grommet through the roof. Everything seems to snag, by the way. You want to pull this whole rubber section through your roof. Like so. Then you can push that down and sort of pull it back through so it seals. So that's this first bit done. Now we can feed your rear brake light loom through the top of your boot. Then that should allow you to pop the grommet through, and that'll keep it watertight. So now that's done, we need to be feeding this section through the inside of the boot all the way around and to this point here. We don't have a rear wiper. I'm not asked about that, but I am asked about me not being able to secure my vehicle. So what you want now is one of these like pipe cleaners. It's quite bendy, and you want to be putting a cable tie around the plugs so you can feed it all the way through. We'll remove this loom from the other vehicle, and we'll have to do the same again because, as I said, we're not breaking the other car, we'll be building it, but it doesn't need a full loom because that's going to be a dedicated track car. So now you've got your loom on the end of your pipe cleaner, you need to start feeding it around the car. And you've got a big access up here. You should be able to grab the end of the pipe cleaner. Try and be as careful as possible and make sure you don't get hit no snags and ripping plugs off, otherwise this renders this useless. And try and help it along if you can. If it starts to get stuck, just feed it back through and then try again. You've got a hole which is underneath your spoiler, so that's your first little helper. So make sure your plugs feed through there and it doesn't get snagged on that. And you just got to try and guide it through the boot, and it's not exactly easy. You know it's starting to play ball when you start to see the plugs appearing where the rear heated screen hole is. So just keep pulling and feeding, and eventually you're going to get where you need to go. This needs to come out of this hole here, so help it along, make sure it doesn't snag. And now we have our plugs through, so now we can guide the rest of the loom around to the positions we need. use your little hole at the top to make sure that the rear heated screen plug's not snagged, which I bet you it has. I can see it through the little guide hole at the top. And just keep pulling it all through. Then you've got this loom here, which goes to the other side of your rear heated screen, and you'll be feeding that through, so make sure that that doesn't snag. So get that one ready and pointing the way you want it to go. So pull your loom through and have a feel and see if you can get to your plug. So then there's our first plug, which goes here. So we can clip that in now. We can cut our cable tie off. Some wire cutters, make sure you don't cut the wires. So now this loom's free. You can feed this through. And as I said, we'll only be using the one plug, which is this black one. And this should get, in theory, our boot lock working. So now back to this part of the loom here. And I think I can feel the rear heated screen spade connector. So picky tool time. Just got to try and have a feel for it. It's around here somewhere. There'll be the white wire you're looking for, and I can see it now. Just gently massage it until it comes through the hole, like so. And plug her in. And now that's just one side done. As with the other side, make sure the grommet seals in underneath the boot. As for this side, we've got to do the cable tie trick onto the end of here. Then massage it all the way through until it pops out of this little hole here. Then we can plug that side in, and that's the boot side covered. Now we've got our little pokey tool through. We can start feeding the loom through the top of the boot. And with a bit of luck, we should start to see the little spade plug, which we can. So using our picky tool in a sec, if we need it, might not. There we have it. There's our spade connector. Winning. So once you're all plugged in, all your looms and everything are all in place, remember to push your grommet in, and then that's this part done. Now it's onto the rest of the loom. And this is where it also gets tricky, but that is definitely the hardest part. The rest is just fiddly. What we're going to do now is all inside the car, and we're going to undo, and it's a 10mm, the earth for the lights, the rear lights. So we're going to undo them. I'm going to work our way forward. So you've got two 10mm, one either side underneath your rear lights. So that's them done. And we're going to start feeding the loom forward. We've unplugged it from the front, and we'll show you that loom afterwards and see why we're changing this whole loom. Rear lights are really easy to access and get out. You've got this little screw-on section. It's an M6, and you just basically twist that, have a bit of a jiggery pokery of the back lights, and then the light unit becomes free. And we need to unplug these because we're going to be using new light looms, which is all attached to that big snaky one. So that's this loom unplugged for the light. Don't forget to put your screw back in so you don't lose it. And then these plastic sections here are just a top and bottom clip. So you can either use a pair of long nose pliers and pinch them and then pull it out, or use a picky tool. I've got a picky tool knocking around because you've seen us use it. It's just locating it, and I'll show you what I mean. You probably noticed in my last few videos that nothing's ever at hand. You know you've got a tool in the vicinity, but then it's like Houdini and disappears. So I'll go and find one of them. So to get this loom unattached, we're going to go with some long nose pliers. You squeeze the tabs and they pop off like so, and you can feed this forward, and that's one part of your loom undone. Then we're going to chase the other one back. Once you unclipped these loom tidies off the car all the way around, driver's and passenger side, you'll find that the driver's side loom goes down the back of the seats, and that'll go all the way to the rear lights and your fuel pump. So your fuel pump is just a tab. So you take this plastic cover off, pry open the little tab and then pop it off. Then the whole loom is ready to feed through the car and out. So the old loom's now removed, and it's time to plumb the new one in. So this is the front of our loom. So we're going to start feeding it towards the front of the car, like so. Then we can plug that in down the passenger footwell. This section I'm pulling up now goes behind the seats. So all this has got to go forward. Maybe better to pop this plastic cover off. Makes it easier to feed everything through. Then we'll just push this on before we plug the fuel pump back in. So all this needs to go to the front of the car, then back across the seats, then start going back towards the rear driver's side rear lamp. Right, so that's all your looms all fed back through along the back of the seats, all tucked in to where they need to sit. So it's a case of putting the back lights back in. Obviously we did the driver side first. They can be a bit fiddly. That one's gone in all right. Tighten the screw up. Go nice and tight. Then you've got your 10mm for your light earth. I did a passenger side one up there. And that should be it. Right, let's see if this works. Oh, that's a nice noise. Boy Joe, I think we've got a winner. I think it's time to put our spoiler back on.
Yeah. Got us all fighting for freedom. Hey, yo. Too many dig themselves a grave and all these things come out to play. I wanna feel your nothingness, I'm just a figment in your brain. I remember broski told me that nothing is the same. And now we on the road to righteousness through thunder or the rain. I've got numbers on my mind, work's peak, coming home to my cause on my line. Never needed more hours, but I'm running out of time. Said I got bigger fish to fry. So as I breathe, feel the stress relief. See the best of me, never need a therapy. Just get them reading hella books and then defeat their enemies. This is the reason they are free, this is the reason they are wise. Fighting demons in the rise, so vividly reflected like a simple piece of symmetry. The reasoning with life, no feeding them, no lie. No freedom with no fight. There's no freedom with no fight. So there's no freedom with no fighting. We on the road to righteousness.
Back to our parts bin. This rear number plate light is broken. The tabs broke off it, so that's not a good connection. So we got one with a good usable one to replace it with. So plug that in, drop her in the bumper, and jobs are good. So here's a look at how much loom we've had to take out of the car. So this is driver side rear lamp. Do you know what that is? Not a clue. The door, the lamp, the little switch which turns your lights on and off when your door's open. Fuel pump. The front block connector to passenger footwell. Over here, you've got your number plate light. Your passenger side rear lamp, and then all the way at the very end you have your roof spoiler brake light. It is probably well over 10 foot of loom just to make our doors and a boot lock on a fob. I think that's called dedication, but that's how you go about doing that. So think if you need to change your boot, this gives you an opportunity to see what it entails. It's a bullshit design, but it is what it is.